Picture this: a man in his 60s, traveling dusty roads between kingdoms, rejected by ruler after ruler. His clothes worn, his sandals tired, his students hungry. He's been wandering for 13 years, and no one wants to listen to his ideas. One day, as he rests under a tree, one of his younger disciples asks him, "Master, why do we keep going? No one wants what you're teaching. Maybe we should just go home." The old teacher looks at his student with eyes that have seen poverty, loss, and countless disappointments. And then he smiles. "We keep going," he says, "because planting a garden is not about seeing the flowers bloom today. It's about knowing that somewhere, sometime, someone will walk through that garden and find peace." That man was Confucius, and the garden he planted. It's still blooming 2,500 years later. This is not just a story about an ancient philosopher. This is a story about a teacher who refused to give up on humanity. A story about lessons so powerful, they've guided billions of people through joy and heartbreak, success and failure, life and death. Today, I want to take you on a journey, not just through history, but through the heart of what it means to be human. Before he was Confucius, before he was a teacher, before he became one of history's greatest minds, he was just a boy named Confucius. Born in 551 BCE in the small state of Lu, his story begins with heartbreak. When Confucius was only 3 years old, his father died. Suddenly, his mother was alone, struggling to feed her son, with no wealth, no status, no protection. Can you imagine being that little boy, watching your mother work herself to exhaustion, going to bed hungry some nights, seeing other children with fathers who would never come home to you? But here's what makes this story extraordinary. His mother made a choice. Despite their poverty, despite the impossibility of it all, she decided that her son would be educated. She would teach him the old songs, the ancient rituals, the classics that only wealthy families could afford to study. Every night, by candlelight, she shared stories of wisdom. Every day she showed him that education wasn't about money or status. It was about dignity, about becoming someone who could help others avoid the pain they had endured. Young Confucius absorbed every word like a plant soaking up rain after a drought. As a teenager, he took whatever jobs he could find. He worked as a bookkeeper, he managed granaries, he tended livestock. The other scholars looked down on him. Who is this poor boy trying to learn philosophy? But Confucius understood something they didn't. Real wisdom doesn't come from privilege. It comes from struggle, from watching your mother cry at night, from feeling hunger, from knowing what it means to be invisible to the world. At age 19, his mother died, and Confucius stood at her grave, alone in the world, and made a promise. He would dedicate his life to teaching others, so that no child would have to learn these lessons alone. This is where Confucius was born, not from books, but from love and loss. By age 30, Confucius, now known as Confucius, Master Kong, or as we call him, Confucius, had become a teacher, but not the kind you might expect. He didn't have a grand academy. He didn't charge expensive fees. He didn't turn anyone away, rich or poor, talented or struggling, young or old. If you wanted to learn, Confucius would teach you. He had one requirement. You had to genuinely want to become a better person. His students would later write about moments that changed their lives. Let me share a few. The student who felt worthless one day A young man came to Confucius, ashamed. "Master," he said, "I try so hard, but I keep failing. I'm not smart like the other students. Maybe I should just give up." Confucius looked at him and said, "Do you see that mountain in the distance? If you stop climbing when you're one step from the summit, that's when you fail. But if you keep placing one foot in front of the other, eventually you will stand at the top. The question is not whether you are capable. The question is whether you will keep walking." That student went on to become one of Confucius's most devoted followers. The angry young man. Another student was known for his terrible temper. One day, after an outburst, he came to Confucius, embarrassed. "I can't control my anger. I'm broken." Confucius replied, "When you wake up in the morning, do you tell the sun to rise? Does the sun need your permission? No, it simply rises. Your anger is like that sun. It will come, but you can choose what you do when it arrives. You can let it burn everything around you, or you can let it warm you, and then let it pass. You are not broken. You are learning." The story of the difficult student. Perhaps the most famous story is about Zai Yu, a student who was caught sleeping during the day when he should have been studying. Other teachers would have expelled him, humiliated him, but Confucius simply said, "Rotten wood cannot be carved. A wall of dirty earth cannot be plastered. What is the use of scolding him?" But here's the beautiful part. He didn't give up on Zai Yu. He just stopped trying to force him to learn the way others learned. Instead, he found what motivated Zai Yu, what lit his fire. And eventually, Zai Yu became successful in his own unique way. Do you see what Confucius was doing? He wasn't just teaching facts. He was teaching people to see their own worth, to believe in their capacity for growth, to understand that failure isn't the end. It's just part of the climb. He believed in his students when they didn't believe in themselves. And that's why they remembered his teachings for over 2 millennia. At age 51, Confucius got his dream job, or so he thought. He was appointed as Minister of Crime in his home state of Lu. Finally, he could put his ideas into practice. He could create the just, harmonious society he'd always envisioned. And for a brief, shining moment, it worked. Crime dropped. People felt safer. Communities grew stronger. But politics is rarely about what's right. It's about power. And when Confucius refused to compromise his principles, when he wouldn't play the corrupt games that other officials played, he was forced out. At 55 years old, Confucius left his home with a small group of loyal students and began wandering from kingdom to kingdom, offering his wisdom to any ruler who would listen. For 13 years, he wandered. 13 years of rejection, of doors slammed in his face, of being mocked by the powerful, of going hungry, of sleeping under trees, of watching his students struggle and wonder if their master had led them astray. There's a story from this period that breaks my heart every time I hear it. Confucius and his followers were traveling through a region in distress, and they ran out of food. For 7 days they had nothing to eat. His students were weak, discouraged, some even sick. One student asked him, "Master, can even a virtuous man face such hardship?" Confucius, weak from hunger himself, replied, "A virtuous man remains virtuous even in hardship. An ordinary man in hardship becomes reckless." But then he did something extraordinary. He took out his qin, his ancient Chinese instrument, and he played music, and he sang. His students looked at him like he'd lost his mind. They were starving and he was singing. But Confucius understood something profound. It's easy to be joyful when life is easy. The real test of character is whether you can find beauty, meaning, and purpose when everything is falling apart. He was teaching them that happiness is not what happens to you. It's what you carry within you. Eventually, they found food. They survived. And his students never forgot that lesson. That even in our darkest moments, we have a choice about who we will be. At age 68, Confucius returned home. He never got to see his political dreams realized. He never became famous in his lifetime. He never knew that his ideas would change the world. But in his final years, he did what he loved most. He taught. And in those final conversations with his students, he shared lessons that have echoed through 2,500 years. Let me share these lessons with you, not as ancient philosophy, but as truths that might change your life today. Lesson 1. It's never about you versus them. It's about we, Confucius taught Ren. Benevolence, humaneness, but it's deeper than just being nice. He said, a person of Ren helps others to stand when they wish to stand, and helps others reach their goals when they wish to reach them. Think about that. When someone succeeds, do you celebrate, or do you feel threatened? When someone is struggling, do you help them up, or do you walk past? Confucius believed that we're all connected. Your success doesn't diminish mine. Your happiness doesn't steal from mine. When you rise, we all rise a little. In a world that teaches us to compete, to compare, to climb over others to get ahead, this is revolutionary. It's a true story. I have a friend who was passed over for a promotion. The person who got it was younger, less experienced. My friend was devastated. But then he remembered this teaching. Instead of being bitter, he offered to mentor the person who got the job. And you know what happened? That person succeeded, gave my friend credit, and a year later, my friend got an even better position. When we help others shine, we don't dim our own light. We create more light. Lesson 2. Your relationships are your life. Confucius emphasized filial piety, respect and care for family. But this wasn't about blind obedience. It was about recognizing that our relationships are where we practice being human. He said, when your parents are alive, serve them according to proper ritual. When they pass away, bury them with proper ritual, and sacrifice to them with proper ritual. But here's what he really meant. Don't wait. Don't assume you have time. How many of us spend more time with our phones than with the people who raised us? How many of us say, I'll visit next month, or I'll call tomorrow, until suddenly, tomorrow never comes. My grandmother used to call me every Sunday. Sometimes I was busy. Sometimes I let it go to voicemail, thinking, I'll call her back later. One Sunday, the phone didn't ring. She had passed away in her sleep. I would give anything for one more of those calls I ignored. Confucius knew, the people who love you won't be here forever. Love them now. Appreciate them now. Be present now. And it's not just parents. It's friends, siblings, children, partners. These relationships are not just a part of your life. They are your life. Lesson 3. Who you are when no one is watching. Confucius taught about integrity. Shin, being trustworthy, sincere, authentic. He said, the superior man is distressed by the limitations of his ability. He is not distressed by the fact that men do not recognize the ability that he has. Translation: don't worry about looking good. Worry about being good. In today's world of social media, filters, and carefully curated lives, this hits different, doesn't it? We're obsessed with the image, the likes, the followers, the perception. But Confucius is asking, who are you when the camera is off? What do you do when no one will ever know? How do you treat people who can't do anything for you? There's a janitor at my local hospital. I've seen doctors walk past him like he's invisible. But there's one surgeon who stops every single morning to ask about his family, to joke with him, to treat him like he matters. That surgeon doesn't do it for credit. She does it because of who she is. That's integrity. That's character. That's what Confucius meant when he talked about becoming a superior person. Not superior to others, but superior to your former self. Lesson 4. Learning never ends, and that's beautiful. At age 70, Confucius said, at 15, I set my heart on learning. At 30, I stood firm. At 40, I had no doubts. At 50, I knew the will of heaven. At 60, my ear was attuned. At 70, I could follow my heart's desire without transgressing what was right. Think about that. At 70, after a lifetime of study, he was still learning, still growing, still discovering. We live in a culture that treats learning like a phase. Go to school, get a degree, and you're done. But Confucius understood that life itself is the curriculum. Every failure teaches you resilience. Every heartbreak teaches you compassion. Every mistake teaches you humility. Every joy teaches you gratitude. You're not behind. You're not too old to change. You're not too broken to grow. You're exactly where you need to be in your journey. Lesson 5. Lead by being the change. Confucius said, if you try to govern people with laws and control them with punishments, they will merely try to avoid punishment without any sense of shame. But if you govern them through moral virtue and regulate them through ritual, they will have a sense of shame and will reform themselves. He wasn't just talking about political leaders. He was talking about all of us. You want your kids to be honest? Be honest. You want your team to work hard? Work hard. You want the world to be kinder? Be kind. You cannot demand from others what you don't embody yourself. Gandhi said it centuries later. Be the change you wish to see in the world. But Confucius taught it first. Your life is your message. Your actions are your teaching. People don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel, and what you showed them was possible. Lesson 6. Find meaning in the simple moments. Confucius once said, isn't it a pleasure to study and practice what you have learned? Isn't it also great when friends visit from distant places? Isn't he a man of complete virtue, who feels no discomposure, though men may take no note of him? He found joy in learning, in friendship, in inner peace, not in wealth, fame, or power. We chase big moments, the promotion, the wedding, the vacation, the achievement. But Confucius is reminding us that life happens in between. Life is the morning coffee, the conversation with a stranger, the sunset you almost missed, the laugh with your friend, the book that changed your perspective, the moment you helped someone who needed it. Don't wait for life to begin when you achieve something big. Life is happening right now, in this very moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this chance to be alive. In 479 BCE, at the age of 72, Confucius died. He died thinking he had failed. He never saw his political ideas adopted. He never became wealthy or powerful. He never knew that he would be remembered at all. His last words, according to his students, were about worry. Worry that no wise king had risen to adopt his teachings, worry that he would be forgotten. But here's what happened instead. His students took his teachings and compiled them into the Analects. Those teachings spread across China, then Korea, then Japan, then Vietnam, then the world. His ideas formed the foundation of East Asian civilization for over 2,000 years. Billions of people have found guidance in his words. Countless lives have been changed by his wisdom. The teacher who thought he failed, he planted seeds that became a forest. And here's the beautiful truth. You are part of that story. Right now, watching this, you're carrying his message forward. Maybe you'll treat someone with more kindness tomorrow because of what you heard today. Maybe you'll call your parent tonight. Maybe you'll choose integrity when no one is looking. Maybe you'll help someone stand when they're struggling. And maybe, just maybe, that will ripple outward and touch someone else, who will touch someone else, who will touch someone else. That's the garden Confucius planted. And every time we choose to be better, to do better, to love better, we're helping that garden bloom. Confucius once said, "It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop." So wherever you are in your journey right now, whether you're on top of the mountain or struggling to take the next step, keep going. Be kind when kindness feels impossible. Love when love feels risky. Learn when learning feels hard. Try when trying feels pointless. Because here's what Confucius knew, what his life proved. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be extraordinary. You just need to keep showing up, keep growing, keep caring. That's how you change the world. Not through grand gestures, but through daily choices to be a little more human, a little more kind, a little more true. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Thank you for keeping Confucius's garden alive. Now go out there and plant some seeds of your own.